the YouTube thing on my other screen, so I'll be able to. All right, I'm waiting. I'll refresh the YouTube. Nice. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, go for it. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure like the timing is right on the sound. So, is it? Am I delayed, or are you and I, Deacon? Are we able to have a real time convo that happens correctly? Yeah, or am I delayed in any way? I see a can hear you, and I see a muted. Does someone want to confirm the current status? All right. Someone says, "There we go." So I think they can hear. I've had to. Yeah, Slow Boy says guest is clear. FDA. I like it. Dude, you've got a 3 letter nickname. That's nice. AOC, FDA. Nice. I gotta aim for that. All right. So I guess it's dead air if I don't talk. So, oh, yeah, they're saying in the chat they can't hear you. Yeah, you're still. Take your time. Take your time. Anyway, hi everyone. I guess Father's going to introduce me in a little bit, but I'm in the Butte Parish, and I want to come on and share some things that have been happening for us. But I'll let Father introduce and set it up once he fixes the audio. Take your time, no rush. I'm sure the folks will be patient.
About that.
Yeah, thanks for your patience. So Father
Got
just
it.
changed something. Can you guys hear him now?
Nobody's say boomer tech. Um, there was something disconnected on the OBS as far as the audio input. Okay, praise God. Let me introduce Pantalemon is his baptismal name. Also Jared. We can call him Jared. Pantalemon is a parishioner at Holy Trinity Serbian Orthodox Church with us here in Butte. And Jared has been an absolute godsend and pivotal in the development and the project of St. Peter's Monastery. Yes. In Harrison, Montana. Some of you might have heard about this. It's a 1,000-acre property owned by David Hicks and the Hicks family, and which I'd say, I don't know, Jared, what are we at? About 60% completion as far as construction. Is that about right?
Well, if you count the buildings that are already on the property, sure, let's round it up to that. But we're building an incredible foundation physically of the property. But we do have a long way to go to build the actual monastery, which are quite ambitious plans, I'll say. So, but yeah, I can fill in some details if the audience is unfamiliar with the project as
Yeah,
a
I'll
whole.
let you talk
But
about it.
there's
And you
tons of
see,
momentum.
yeah, and you see that Jared's picture there is of the monastery right there because his camera on the laptop's not currently working, which is fine. That's great because we can actually see the monastery when you talk about it. But
Yeah, that was a happy accident right there. That was my picture from before. I guess I had that up for a while.
Yeah, that is a happy accident. Anyways, we'll give a little bit of background for those of you that don't know. Now, of course, every Orthodox Montanica conference, we actually schedule a tour the day before the conference begins for people to visit the monastery and see what's actually going on. But why don't you share with everybody some of the history and where we're kind of at, and then that'll set up for some of the good news to let everybody know.
All right, that sounds great. Yeah, there's quite a bit of history, but I'll make it really succinct. If you haven't, I'll just assume that no one's heard anything. So David Hicks is the donor. He purchased this property 20 years ago, and he's been Orthodox for 20 years, and he's had this vision to create an English-speaking Athonite-style monastery, which will be, I believe, something unique in the West. And for 9 years, they've had volunteer work camps to build the physical monastery. And I joined one of these work camps 5 years ago. It had previously been under the care of the OCA, but they relinquished that responsibility January 1st of 2023. And I saw an opportunity to help accomplish that vision. And I'm in Butte. I'm part of the Serbian church, and the priest in Butte is Father Russell. His uncle, this is an amazing kind of connection. His great uncle was a monk at Hilandar Monastery, which is the Serbian monastery on Mount Athos. This is the most important cultural and religious institution in the Serbian church and within the Serbian culture. It's also an extremely important monastery. within Mount Athos. So I made a plan to go over there and kind of introduce our project to them and ask for their help, guidance, leadership, and partnership. And eventually went there for the first time in February of 2024. Had a very good response from the abbot, Igumon Methodius. And some certain things happened in the interim. We're working administratively with our local bishop, Bishop Maxime, was able to go back for Pascha this year. And Igumon Methodius received us very warmly, received me very warmly, and reaffirmed his desire to visit Montana and confirmed that that he would like to do that. So David Hicks, the donor, in response to hearing that information, so I reported that to David around May. And a few weeks ago, this was a pretty spontaneous decision. David decided he wanted to travel to Hilandar and make a personal appeal to the Igumon and a personal request to invite him directly to visit the site and see what we have. And we did that. We just finished that mission less than a week ago. And the amazing news I have for everyone is that, yes, the Igumon Methodius is going to come to Montana in late October of this year for the express purpose of understanding the physical plans, seeing the land, and importantly, he is interested in meeting men that are discerning a monastic vocation. So this is we're thrilled, obviously, for us to have the interest and the leadership and the partnership of an institution like Hilandar Monastery is just we're just overjoyed, and I am, and David Hicks is as well. David has been trying and waiting and hoping and praying for 10 years for this. So we really are on the cusp of something really great. I think it's more than a once in a lifetime opportunity. I think this is a once in a millennium opportunity, given the remoteness, the beauty, and also the timing of this, which comes at a time, as you all know, when Orthodoxy is growing, and there's a fervent zeal for Orthodoxy in the West. And to meet that zeal and to nourish the faithful, monasteries are an essential component, as you all know. And we need more, and we will attempt to establish this in the Athonite tradition, having a direct link with really the center of monasticism in Orthodoxy. So
also
we're
explain to
absolutely
him
thrilled.
what's unique too is that because we obviously have an Athonite style in through Elder Ephraim's monasteries, but what's unique about this monastery is it's going to be in English. All the services are going to be done in English. So although it's Athonite, so we don't have, as far as I know, an Athonite style all done in English. And this is really important for us kind of going forward as far as the growth of Orthodoxy in America, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would really agree with that. And you put it nicely. We have incredible Ephraimite monasteries. I've visited them, many of them. I've visited St. Anthony's many times, Panachia of Lahernon in Florida, St. Antarios in New York State, and we're incredibly blessed to have those. But we do need to translate that Mount Athos spirit into the West. David Hicks himself is a translator by trade. He's a classicist, he's an academic, and he has translated Greek classical texts, Marcus Aurelius Meditations, one of the most successful translations of that. So in the meeting with Igumon Methodius last week, he leaned heavily on that concept of translation. and we were asking the Igumon, the abbot of Hilandar, to help translate that spirit of Mount Athos, not only just to English, but to Western culture and to an American culture, so that it is firmly established in the truest Athonite way, but translated to an American context. And this would be something unique, Father, like you said. I believe this is not just would be the first English, but the first monastery that is founded with the explicit vision of um, really embracing American culture and appealing to Western minds and Western people.
What's so great about this too is that there's all this talk about well, there really isn't an American Orthodoxy yet. You have various jurisdictions, and I would suggest the wrong way is a sort of kind of an imperialism to force an American Orthodoxy, a unity. Obviously, we're not papists. We don't do that with language. We don't do it with anything about orthodoxy. And so, what's really wonderful about this opportunity, if there's going to be united Orthodox, if there's going to be a an American Orthodoxy, this is exactly what it's going to look like, and it's going to be organic. So the idea is what happens is the Orthodoxy and the Orthodox roots that reach down really deep in these cultures, obviously Athos, right, is brought over, and the Americans, there's a saturation of the ethos, right? And one of the things I think is really important too is that all of the fathers and Jared and David, we really do believe that Montana's uniquely suited and ideal for this project and for Orthodoxy to grow in an organic way from actually Montana. So if you think about it, we're a huge state. I forget if we're like the third or fourth largest state. We're almost the size of California, but only with a population of 1 million people. We have our largest cities, Billings, what is 150,000. So we don't have any big cities. I live in the capital's 35,000. Butte's around 30,000 or something like that. 30, somewhere similar. So the expanse of the land, that you don't have the kind of compact city life. You have an agrarian kind of wild kind of country that's still left here. I think all of us believe that it's like this is where it's going to happen. The monastery itself is situated in a wonderful, beautiful location where this can actually happen here. So if you want to speak a little bit about that, but that all of the fathers, yourself, that David Hicks, we all really do believe this, that Montana's the template for this to grow organically into a unity and a real Orthodox America. Because we're new, we need to saturate it, but we need to have a location and a place that's ideal for that type of monastic orthodoxy to blossom and to saturate the whole culture.
Thank you for that. That's a great perspective. I share it 100%. And yes, there is the potential for this to influence the culture in a big way. Not just this, monastery itself, but our greater vision is that this can serve as a model and can hopefully spawn other monasteries. And this one, though, this location, the size and the timing of it is unique. 1,000 acres is huge. It's rare. It's going to be rare to impossible to find another piece of property being given to the Orthodox Church of this size and of this location, this remoteness. So yeah, we hope that it will. I personally, my vision is that this can spawn a cluster of monasteries that is like a Mount Athos region of America. I have traveled extensively around Serbia and been to maybe 40 monasteries in Serbia. And just to give you a sense, and Father has this sense of Romania. They have a wonderful monastic culture. But in Serbia, the country is the size of South Carolina, and there are 300 monasteries. So that just gives you a sense of kind of the proportion of monasteries to Orthodox people. So monasteries should not be something that are far off from people. Most people in Serbia live within a half an hour of a monastery. And that's the correct model for an Orthodox country. So we need a lot more monasteries. But I will say this also, within Serbia, there's a couple of regions that serve as like clusters of monasteries. There's something in the north of Serbia called Fruška Gora. There's about 20 monasteries within a 1-hour drive. And they call that the Athos of Serbia. We might not cluster them that densely, but I think the greater Rocky Mountain region and maybe the northern Rockies, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, could serve as something like that. So we're not trying to do 10 things at once. We're doing one thing at once, but we are keeping in mind the greater vision, the greater possibility. And I hope that inspires everyone involved with this project right at the very beginning. The donors, the monastics, and just everyone involved. There really is the potential of something just kind of once in a millennium opportunity.
And that fits with Father Russell. Father Russell is he's going to be known as the apostles of the Western Rockies, the apostle of the. But yeah. He's known as a missionary priest, and so he has a model that other priests actually use, and this will apply to the monastery as well. Is you build it, right? And as it grows and becomes healthy and functional, then a group, this is the kind of satellite model, then there's a group that's sent out, which is, it's really apostolos, right? So you send another, right? So you break off, right? And from there that grows and then breaks off. And so that's, not only do we do that with the parishes, but when it gets up, I think Father's model is once you get up to 75% capacity or 80%, then you get a group and you send off and you create another mission. Now the monastery model is going to look like that too. So we start this, we get it up and running, and then the monks can send apostolos, another monk, or and establish various monasteries, and that's what you really kind of see in that Jared's talking about in Serbia. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's an apostolic model, and I think it's providential that the name of the monastery is St. Peter's, and St. Peter the Apostle. I'm using this Serbian, the Apostle, and. Yeah, Father Russell really is a missionary-minded priest, and we just hope to that is kind of the model for monasteries in general. We're doing a little bit backwards, but in general, monasteries will kind of spawn and form from an established monastery. So we hope to make this a really strong monastery with really strong ties to Hilandar on Mount Athos. And we hope that with that strong foundation and that strong leadership, that from that, it will form great, solid monks that will, hopefully, there's a possibility that they could go out. Now we're talking over a 50-year time frame. Yes. We're not talking tomorrow.
We should say there's some questions in the chat, but before we get to one of the questions, um, we should say if you know anybody, if you're a male, you're not obviously married, you're Orthodox, and you're interested in monasticism. Remember, the Imam is coming, and he's looking for young men that could be potential monastics at our St. Peter's. So feel free to contact me or Father Russell if you do have an interest, if you know somebody who does. Um, Please let me know, because that's what we're looking for. And there is a question about, is this going to be multi-jurisdictional? So let's talk a little bit about how this works. Now, obviously, over the years, there has been multiple interest, but typically, canonically, how this works, you don't have monasteries under multiple jurisdictions. I mean, you can just imagine the kind of mess of administratively what that would actually create. So monasteries are under a one jurisdiction. They're under, that's just normal kind of orthodoxy. Jared had mentioned originally it was under the OCA and the Diocese of the West, and they had a contract with David Hicks to a certain period of time, to have that kind of fulfilled and get monks in there, and then that expired and opened back up, and we since then, that was 2023, I believe, had multiple interests, and we just didn't know where it was going. Like, what jurisdiction is it going to go under? Who's going to take it? Because it's a big project. It's a huge. You have to get funding. You have to get people financially backing this, and then just the administrative things too. It's quite complicated. So the last couple of years, we really didn't know where this was going to go. We trusted in God, and so the good news of, we, what was it, a couple years ago, we did hear, because Jared had visited Mount Athos, as he had explained, and met with the Imam and the abbot of Hildar Monastery, expressed some interest, but we didn't know where that was at. Like, would that just stay as an interest? What the next move really would be? It's beyond just I'm curious and interested when you actually say I'm coming to Montana. I'm going to visit, and so let's talk a little bit about that. As far as like, how does that work? As far as kind of like jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Now, of course, anybody's welcome, but administratively, it always has to be just be like a parish too. You couldn't have a parish that's has multiple kind of jurisdictions and administrations. It would be, first of all, it's just not historically orthodox, but it would just be practically chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah. We're a hierarchical religion, and we need to trace our leadership all the way back to something valid. And so trying to create, so this, I will say this, so the spirit of the monastery will be open to everyone.
Yes.
That is explicit. That is David's vision. So we will not, it's going to be, we're going to attempt to create a kind of an American character, so that we're not establishing a Serbian monastery in America. David was really clear in our meeting with the Igaman last week. That was what David wanted to express. David was expressing, we don't want, because we have Greek monasteries in the U.S., and that's no shade. That's not, that's just, it's different than what this vision is. What was amazing in that meeting was that the Iguman immediately understood. He immediately understood that this needs to be open to everyone, to have an American character, and to not be a Serbian monastery kind of per se. Although we do need to attach it canonically to a jurisdiction.
Yes. And didn't he say
Father Deacon, I
something
just
like, of course it's going to be American.
yeah,
If you're
no,
in
it
America.
was
And so he understood. He totally got it.
he he completely got it, and that was really great for David to hear. He needed to express that, and he needed to see the Eaglemon's reaction so they could develop some trust. They're on the same page. I just want to reach back to something that we talked about the Igumon making an explicit request that he wants to meet with young, discerning American men. Not yet young, but discerning American men. There's no age limit. Okay, so that's kind of my job and our job now. Our job being the American Orthodox community is to kind of gather sincere, discerning men and and let them meet with the Igumon. So he wants to focus on the physical plan, seeing the land, getting down to actual nitty gritty. But importantly, he wants to meet with men who want to become monks or pursue this. So that's the explicit request from the Igumon, from the abbot.
And for those that don't know, let's talk a little bit about how this would work and how monasticism works. So, when you have an interest, I mean, you're not immediately taking vows. So you enter in what's known as a novice, and you can spend time in discernment at the monastery and working and praying and speaking with the abbot. Before you even get there, it would be great just meeting with the abbot who knows what this life is like and can tell you all about it to help you discern, would this be something for me? Now, if you say, yeah, I'm interested, you haven't made vows yet. So keep that in mind, that you have a time period that you enter in as a novice, and which you have a period of time of discerning whether I'm going to make the commitment, whether this is my calling. So keep that in mind. I mean, a lot of people just don't know how that actually works. So I think it's important that I mention that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, this is really at every step of the way for the discerner, for the monastic, and for the igumon and for the monastery. There's a multi-phased approach. So actually, even before you're a monastic, I'll tell you how it works at Heelandar because I've been there for a little while. So at Heelandar, if you want to come, you get a blessing to just go, to just visit. And then if you stay like a week, if you want to stay longer as a pilgrim, really, you can get a blessing to stay longer, a month or 2 months. And then if you express a desire to, become a candidate, this is even before a novice, then you would do that for maybe a period of 3 months. Then you're a candidate to become a novice, and you're sincerely, really considering if you want to become a novice. And then, you're a candidate for, say, 3 or 6 months, and then you take vows to become a novice. And then there's about a 1 or 2 or 3 year period where you're seeing if you fit with the brotherhood. You're seeing if this is really for you. And there's a relationship with you and the abbot and the brotherhood, because it's a huge commitment. So this first phase is, it's really just dipping your toe in, just to meet, and there's really no expectation. I am hoping to take a group of men on a pilgrimage to Serbia and other monasteries in the Balkans, and then kind of bring people to Heelandar itself. So I think there would be an opportunity in the next few months, probably after October, of having a kind of a guided trip and encountering monasteries, making pilgrimages, venerating relics, and also talking to monks and seeing what other brotherhoods are like, getting a little sample of monasticism from the old world. So I'll just mention.
Yeah, I'm glad you broke that down, you know, uh, in more detail as well. And I mean, we can even kind of set up, something to participate to kind of like sign up, express interest, and if we do, when we do organize a pilgrimage to Serbia, which is Jared's right is in Serbia right now, live. So just in case we didn't mention that, um, we could have something through Patristic Faith where we could, organize that trip or something like that where people could sign up. I think that would be good.
Yeah. Group of about, 15 maximum. So 10 to 15 would be a good number.
Yeah. Also, something unique about the monastery too, and I can't remember how long these camps have been going, but um, there have been kids camps and kids of various ages. I forget what the youngest is, all the way up into probably like 18, 19, or something like that. Where
I think it's 16 to 22, Father.
16 to 22, okay. 16
Yeah.
to 22. Typically, people who come from the West and the kind of Rockies, also a lot of people from Washington, Oregon, and they come and they spend about a week, and they have services, they have meals together, but they work together, and what all of them been doing is in the construction of the monastic cells. And for those of you that went to Montanica, we got to actually tour that and see where it's at in the construction process. All of those, the rocks that are formed in the construction were hand chosen and hand placed by all of the Orthodox campers, over the last, 4, 5, 6, I forget if it's been going 7 years, how long we've been doing, Father David's been doing the camps there. And so that's really special too, is we don't just have construction workers coming in and doing this, but it's really from the actual hands of the Orthodox, and especially to have the youth being part of it. That's unique itself too. And so there's something really special when you go, you can feel it when you get there, that you're like, there's nothing like it. Like nobody's ever done this. And that's part of what the vision of what does a truly American Orthodox monastery look like. That's part of it. You can see it. Anyways, I don't know if you want to say anything about that and just the development of how the monastery has been going in terms of that.
Yeah. Over 500 young people have put their hand to this over the last 9 years. It's really amazing. The energy at the camp is totally unique. I participated in it 5 years ago, and I've been busy on pilgrimage in Serbia and Mount Athos the past 2 summers, so I haven't been able to attend. Um, yeah, it's just really unique, And so there's going to be a lot of people that feel a very strong connection to this monastery. There's going to be a lot of support in all kinds of ways, prayer support and pilgrimage going forward. Um, yeah, it's just really, really unique.
We
Um, you know, yeah,
we have some questions too. I've had this before too, where people want to come out here and they want to volunteer their work, building the monastery, outside of the camps. Now we're not at that stage yet, um, and one of the reasons is, again, David has duties, beyond, he doesn't always live full time at the monastery property. And so we do not have any kind of workers or constructors that are present at the monastery, where at this point, I don't know, obviously once, this moves forward, we'll probably start, and with the donors and backing moving to larger developmental stage as far as construction stuff like that. But I've had that question a lot, like, can I come out and help building and constructing, and what would you say about that? Because we got somebody in the chat asking that, and that's come up. That question's come up
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, I have a feeling that very soon there's going to be an opportunity for people to come and work. We have a church guest house in Butte, Montana.
Yes.
It's occupied by our iconographer at the moment, but we expect that to be finished by August. So that'll return to being a place where visiting workers could come and lend their hand to the monastery. Just my gut sense is that things are going to happen pretty quick over the next 6 months. One of the process, the series of events where this has to happen is that we need it to become an officially attached monastery, and once we do that, we can fundraise.
Yes.
But I've been developing relationships with donors over the past year plus, and my sense is that it's not going to be a challenge to fundraise, that it's actually going to be quite fun and that it could happen quite quickly. So, we need monks, we need official attachment, and then we need to raise money. And I think I just have a sense that all of that could come together pretty quickly over the next 6 months. So please, if you have that inspiration, stay in touch with us, stay in touch with Father Deacon. I can give you my contact. Father can share that with you guys. I don't want to stifle anyone's inspiration because, when I felt inspired to help this monastery, I just kind of looked around and I saw what was needed and I just jumped in. And I asked, David Hicks, hey, can I do this? I want to go to Serbia. And I just found and I just jumped in. So I just did it, so I want to share that with other people. Anyone who feels an inspiration, I'm trying to serve you guys to help you find ways for you guys to contribute and connect, because it's been so meaningful to me.
Yeah. Amen. And is anybody in the chat have any questions about the monastery, or the development and progress? Those that might have interests in coming to visit when the abbot comes, and we'll keep everybody posted. We have a rough idea towards the end of October. We don't have an exact date. When we get that, obviously we'll let people know. For those of you who are interested, please, here's the date. He'll be here. But anybody in the chat have any questions for Jared and myself about the monastery, St. Peter's? Feel free to add anything else, Jared, as we wait for people's questions.
Sure, I'll say hi to Justin. We talked at Montanica, so
Yeah.
anyone else in the chat that I met at Montanica, good to see you guys.
And Justin, by the way, just because it has to be administratively under jurisdiction doesn't mean that people's other dioceses cannot get involved in supporting and being involved in that project. So you can encourage your priest to get his diocese involved.
Absolutely. And if you guys, I personally would love to talk to anyone in this chat, offline, and give you more information. And I would also just love to talk to your priest and give him kind of the full picture. And, priests know generally, they know the parishioners. And so I'd like to spread the word, particularly for gathering discerning men. That's really, my main goal right now, between now and October. So if anyone wants to reach out to me and connect me with their parish priest, please do so.
Just lost what I was going to say.
Father
Justin
Deacon,
wants to build it with his bare
you and
hands.
you and I could jump on a call with people's local parish priests. So I
Yeah,
don't want
exactly.
to
Yeah.
kind of step in front of you here.
Yeah, get more details. Welcome, Joseph. By the way, Joseph and I'll be going on with Joseph to discuss the talk that I gave both on the St. Paisius Brotherhood and also at the Montanica, the workshop that I did with Father Turbo on betrayal and forgiveness. So Joseph and I will set that up. And so thank you, Joseph, for that, reaching out. Um, all right. When is it scheduled to be complete? Well, it's going in phases. So, the most important part is, well, you've got to get an abbot.
Right.
So
Right.
then you got to get the monks. So it's impossible to set definite kind of dates of completions when, this is the biggest news yet, is that like now looks like we're going to get an abbot. He's coming to actually visit. We need that before we can actually start making definite dates, because also obviously once it's there, once the contracts are kind of signed and stuff like that, and then as Pantamonid said, then funding starts.
Yeah.
And then the details of like, what kind of construction do we have to build and bring in. And obviously the abbot, he knows how to, and he'll be a guiding mind overseeing exactly how obviously his monastery would be constructed and stuff like that. So right now it's just too early in the phases to give any definite dates on completion.
Yeah. I will say this though. A brotherhood could be formed right now.
Yes.
There's no obstacle to that. Like I said, we have this house in Butte. Even though there's not a house on the property for 5 or 10 novices to live. 5 or 10 novices could live in Butte. So we have a physical place where men could land and begin to pray together and discern this. So that's ready to go. So there's no obstacle there, and it looks like the obstacles are being removed around the jurisdiction and leadership. And like I said, the fundraising, I think, is going to be just this joyful process that I think could happen quickly. So, but then the abbot is going to want to influence the physical plans, like the father said. He's already asked for those. He has some thoughts. The physical arrangement is an important aspect of this. But no, it's a really exciting time, and I thank Father Deacon for all of his prayers.
Yeah, we thank you, Jared, too. And like I said, it can start now. We can get people, this is why we have this property, which is a 3-minute walk from the parish. So it's, it's right up on the parish. Like, it's great. And we can put about 5 or 6 men, maybe more.
There's 12 beds.
12 beds, yeah.
There's 12, there's 12 beds. You could cram 12 guys in there if we had to.
Yeah. And so we can start now. I mean, really, we could start forming a brotherhood, start working. It's great that it's connected right across the street from the parish. And then, at least by Montana standards, a fairly short drive to the monastery. And yeah, here's a good question, Justin. How many youths are able to attend the camps now? David had talked about that at the Montanica. It is such a desirable thing to be at the camps that I forget what the number. It's obviously capped.
Like 85.
85.
They had this year. About 85 this year they had.
People are on waiting lists. It's basically like by the time
it fills up within hours of being posted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if anyone is interested or knows people that are, I can try to connect you with David to get more information. David Hicks.
Yeah, and they just finished a camp. Was 2 weeks ago, right? I think was.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, maybe 3 weeks ago. And then David and I went immediately after the camp. So that finished on a Saturday, and then by Wednesday, David was on a plane to Athens.
Yeah,
that's how quickly that happened.
Yeah, this is just amazing. And we're talking about this, we can do pictures and stuff like that, but It's beyond words. You have to come taste and see that the Lord is good. I remember the first time that I brought Father Turbo out here and took him to the monastery, and just jaw dropped, and he took me aside and he said, "Look, I don't want to say that I thought you were kind of over exaggerating about." He was like, "You weren't. You underestimate." Like I said, I told you. It's incapable of being put into words. What I mean, just standing over the monastic cells, overlooking the Tobacco Root Mountains and the river philosophy named by Lewis and Clark, and the lake there. That there's nothing like it. It's just enormous and just blessed with the Holy Spirit. You can feel it, and there's not even any monks there yet. That's what's so amazing. Can you imagine? You're like, this is the place. Like you just know it. And we don't even have any monks there yet. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when we actually start getting brothers and monks and abbot there? Um, but that's what I always said. You got to come and actually see it, because as good as I may be with words, I can't put it into words. It literally transcends anything that I could actually describe to you.
Anybody is welcome to come visit before October at any time. You're welcome to come. We have this guest house, and even if the artist is in the guest house, we have other homes and parishioners that could receive you. And yeah, if you want to come and you want to visit the monastery and spend some time with us in Butte and experiencing Montana, please come. Just come visit.
Yeah. And we already even have, I'm not going to give away too many details of locations and plans for other monasteries in Montana, possibly even a women's monastery too. So,
A little teaser. Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
there really are amazing things. And like I said, there's a reason why I chose to come up to Montana. Just the kind of large expanse and rural. I mean, it's just so ripe and so compatible with the kind of salt of the earth uh, ethos of orthodoxy. And we all really do believe that. Now, of course, Alaska's great, but one of the reasons why I think it's more difficult, Alaska, it's too big and remote. Uh, it's hard to get supplies and connect with other parishes. So I can't think of a more ideal state where it's like it's large enough and remote enough, but not too remote. And the cities they are far from, they're not large cities, but not too far that we all can't be. And as Jared said, it is a pan orthodox in the sense that all are involved. It just has to jurisdictionally and administratively be under one. But that's what we have here in Montana. We have about 7 parishes, I think, in this large kind of state, and it's far enough but close enough to keep everybody connected to be able to get supplies and stuff like that, and be connected to the parishes as well. So we believe that if there is going to be an emergent American Orthodoxy, that again it's going to be in a place like Montana, and that will become a template for once that starts to grow and we get a taste, we're like, this is what American Orthodoxy is going to look like. And again, remember, it's not imperialism. You can't force a language or force a Orthodox idea. We make room in our hearts. We keep what has always been kept. That's why we're bringing in, a Serbian, right, Athonite style, and then you absorb it, and the Holy Spirit speaks and works, who's present everywhere, the Spirit of truth, and shows, because each country, it has its unique flavor and taste of Orthodoxy. Because Orthodoxy came in and it baptized their culture, and the Holy Spirit worked within that, and there emerged, from the music to the particularities of the iconography and even architectural styles and the songs and stuff like that. That's the Holy Spirit. So it's not forced, it comes organically out of, and we just can't think of a better place where it's like, this is where it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well said, Father.
We have a question from Justin. Electricity and plumbing, are there currently any donators for iconography and things?
For the monastery, he's
Yes.
asking? Yeah.
Yes.
Um, it's there. So David and Betsy built a very nice large house. They built it physically themselves. They're on well, and they have some solar and some wind. And so the monastery will be off grid. It will probably need to have its own well. And for iconography, no, we don't have any iconography donors or iconographers lined up. We have an opening for that, and we are accepting interest from all sides.
Yeah, and we'll see if Shane's interested in the project too. Uh, my dear friend Shane Swenson, uh, who is was the protege of Uglisha, who had done our iconography with his team at Holy Trinity in Butte, and then 5 years ago we had a water damage when a roofer um, incorrectly put on the tiles on and there was a leak, and it damaged it leaked through and damaged the plaster and the iconography. And so we've had this project going for 5 years, and Uglisha for health reasons had to back out of that project, and so we brought on Shane, and it's almost complete, as we'd said. He's painting the last part over the repaired stucco right now, and so he should be done by August. And so he may want to be. We'll see where he's at when we get to that point. He may want to be involved in that project too.
Yeah, that would. I mean, that would be great. Yeah, Justin, I'm reading your message. God bless you. Donating with prayers or any other way is just most welcome. I always ask people for prayers. When I've been on pilgrimage around Serbia and I'm visiting these monasteries. I'm not approaching them and say, "Hey, give us some monks. We want to start a monastery." I'm approaching them and I'm saying, "Please pray for us." So we do have many monks in Serbia and Greece and Mount Athos praying for our monastery. I want everyone to know that. There's a lot, and Kosovo as well. I wish I could had more time to tell you the stories of these monks that are just they're thrilled for what we're doing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of prayer support.
Yeah. You guys have any other questions? It's probably getting late. Let me know when you need to leave. But this is we're so thrilled about this, and we wanted to share this with you. And like I said, ask for your prayers. And we need the prayers too, because obviously the evil one, that's the last thing he wants to happen is this project. And so we combat that with our love and prayers to push back and restrain the evil one.
Please pray for me.
Yeah,
Please
and for
me.
Jared, yeah, Pantalamone. Other questions, guys? And what's so cool too is that the connection to Holy Trinity, and that will, be Serbian, is that Holy Trinity, I call it the mothership of Orthodoxy in Montana, because it's not only the largest parish in Montana, it's the oldest. And that it was founded by Saint Sebastian Dorvovic, Saint Sebastian of Jackson, and actually came here. It was 127 years ago. I can't remember when the original church construction actually began, and then the consecration by Saint Tikhon, the Enlightener of America. People are just blown away when they hear it's like in Montana, a 127-year-old parish founded by a saint, consecrated by Saint Tikhon. They're just blown away, and the whole story of Saint Sebastian himself, how he came here, and actually built this is just an amazing story as well, because you know the closest I think that you could get to here by train is Boise. So if you're coming from the West Coast, you take a train to Boise, and then he had this. Um, we have the original. I don't use it in the liturgy, thank God, because it's like 50-pound gospel book. We keep it in the back, but he had that in his notepad, like with no money, and he had real faith and trust in God that well, God will provide. And he hiked in from Boise it through the Rockies and the Continental Divide, the Great Divide, and built the parish here. And the people, I shouldn't say just him because it's the people. The church isn't just the clergy; it's the people. And you had people working in the mines, and they, from Serbia, here in Butte, and they had gold in their pockets from the mine, and they said, "We want a church. We want to build this because if we, miners died all the time, and if they died with this money, they knew that they'd be accountable, and so." They raised funds in, what was it, like 3 days or something like that. They all just came and poured their gold out and said, let's build the church. And it was, the funds were raised and within like a day or two or something like that, if I remember the story correctly. And so that history, that rich history, and the connection to the two saints here, I think it's really blessed. And the monastery, that's one of the reasons why the monastery project and the monastery itself is being blessed, I believe.
Yeah, it's an amazing history. One quick anecdote, maybe before we wrap it up here on it. I mentioned that Father Russell's uncle was a monk at Heelandar Monastery. So that's Father Jovan. Father Jovan had lived a full adult life in America. So it was Father Russell's grandparents' generation. So his grandfather's brother, and he had emigrated to America. And in the 70s, it was kind of a tough time for Heelandar. It was communist era. And there were 7 monks at Heelandar. And there's a rule, if you fall below 7 monks, you lose ownership of your monastery. The Greeks inherit the monastery. So Father Jovan and 3 other men from America moved from America, and they became monks at Heelandar. They bolstered the numbers, and they saved the monastery for the Serbians. And I just think it's really, really interesting that now Heelandar has a chance to kind of pay that forward back to America if we're worthy,
That's a cool. Yeah.
if we're isn't that really amazing?
Yeah. That's so orthodox, though. And
Yeah,
Justin asked a
yeah.
question about this would be the only male monastery for how big it is. I don't know what the canons are as far as distances, like if there even is, or maybe Father Russell talked about that. I'm not gonna at this point. It's too early in the game to tell you where we're eyeing a possible women's monastery, but it's about 3 hours away.
Yeah. And yeah, you know what? I mean, I could tease something even more. It could be even closer. But there's a lot of momentum around monasteries in Montana in general right now, I
Yeah,
will say. Yeah.
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 But yeah, I don't know exactly like what the canons say. Like a distance has to be between.
Oh, it's that is we have a certain concept of that in America because we have such a large country.
Yeah,
There are monasteries in Serbia. There's a men's monastery, and 5 miles away, there's a women's monastery. There's 300 monasteries in a country the size of South Carolina.
yeah,
So they are, they're fairly close together. I mean, this is not like, yeah, it's up to the bishops and it's up to, the hierarchs and things. But no, there's nothing canonically saying that you need to have them, certain distance apart, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know that either. I don't think so. Good question, though. Any other questions before Jared has to depart? We used to get large. Like, I can't figure out what's going. Well, we have somebody in here saying that they don't get notifications anymore. We used to have like 70 concurrent viewers. Like, we're at like 29, 30. I don't know. That might be part of it. People aren't getting the notifications. Somebody told me that if you're subscribed to too many, you don't get the notifications. You have to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I don't know. So I apologize. I wish more people were on here to hear the good news. So forgive me for that. I've got to figure out what's going on. Questions? What else should we say in closing? Let's see. There is a St. Herman's and St. Xenia ski in Platina. Yeah, that's a good
Yep,
point.
that's right. They're about a half an hour apart. Yeah, they're not too far apart. And monasteries clustered together, they can actually kind of support each other. They can be a support to each other. If they're male or male and female, yeah, it's not a bad thing if they're in close proximity, in my opinion. Speaking as a layman and a pilgrim. But you do see in Serbia, like I said, there's actually two areas that have like a cluster of 15 or 20 monasteries. There's two separate areas in Serbia that have that, and they are men's and women's in each cluster.
Somebody did ask a question when we were doing the tour where the closest monastery right now is to, I think that's Washington.
I believe that's Goldendale. Yeah,
Goldendale, yeah.
And that's a women's monastery. I think that's about a 7 or 8 hour drive.
Yes.
And then not too much farther, if you go to Montana to Vashon Island, which is just straight west towards
Yes.
Seattle, that's about an 8 hour drive plus a half an hour on a ferry. You know, those are the closest that I know of. Which really, that's like for America, that's like
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty far. We're kind of we don't have one. It was one of the sad parts about me moving to Montana is that I didn't go to a monastery within 2 hour drive or something.
Yeah. So
So
we're looking really forward to getting that up to have that.
it's
And
going to be
then
amazing to
the
be able to go there
surrounding
for
area,
everything.
Idaho and Washington, Idaho and Wyoming, and even Colorado, for people to be able to have a monastery up here that's not too far to drive.
Yeah, yeah,
Not to
for
mention
sure.
everybody on the other side, the east side of it, like, because I don't know, going east, you don't get a
Yeah,
monastery until you get to where, Pennsylvania or New York or something.
oh, not
Oh
that
no,
far. I
that's
think
not true. No,
there's Chicago, Indiana, Illinois.
we have
Um,
a Holy Door mission under the Romanian Archbishop Nathaniel in Rives Junction. That would probably be maybe the
Michigan.
closest on the east side of us. So this will be great. Anything else you want to leave us with? Jared? Or anybody have any questions in the chat before Jared has to depart? Yeah, you can see in the photo, there's what we call the mansion. That's David Hicks' residence that he built. To the immediate left is the construction. I think Jared Froze's going to come back in a second. Why am I? Do I have low CP or high CPU? Am I choppy? I think he'll come back in, and then we'll finish this off, and then open up some other questions that you guys have about any topics, but um, let's see. There he is. Yeah, I
All
figured
right.
that you froze up and just had to exit and come back in.
Yeah. So did you conclude?
No, I was just
Oh, we're live.
we're live. So I was just talking
All right.
in the screensaver here, showing where the mansion, we call it the mansion because it is like a mansion, the David Hicks residence, and then to the left is the construction site, the monastic cells, and if you go down uh, the building furthest down is what's called the boathouse because the lake's there, and then to the left, which is currently where, especially during camps, we have like a portable iconostasis. Um, what do we call that? The barn or the workshop? I don't even remember what we call that.
Yeah, like either way, yeah, the barn or the workshop. That's really cool because that's a potential income for the monks. Um, David's nephew is the top timber framer in the state, and his limiting factor to his production is the labor-intensive preparation of the timber. And so he would be willing to hire the monks so they could have economic independence, which is really actually important. It's huge for a monastery. Um, so that's the potential of the barn. Um, yeah, the monastery site itself is a 20-acre easement that could contain all of the construction for the monastery, and it sits within a 1,000-acre property. So you have a huge buffer.
Yeah, that's a real. I'm glad that you brought that up too. People don't think about that. That the monks have to be able to support themselves, and so during the tour, there's conversations and questions about what would that look like. Obviously the shop's great, um, and the potential to even you know make other things, produce, etc. So these are all things that are discussed about. Um,
Yeah, there's 100 acres of certified organic land. Which is tough to do. That's already on the property, and of course, there's ranching opportunity. This is
yes, right.
this
Yeah.
is ranch land, and there's a lot of different opportunities for income. So the monks could ranch. There's nothing there's nothing against that
Yeah.
that I know of. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank all of you who supported. I'm just going to read some super chats real quick. Dale to 7 donates $20. Thank you, Father. Thank you so much. Dale to 7's a regular contributor. If you haven't subscribed to Patristic Faith, please do like this. And also, we have another super chat that came in. Eric 499, Father bless. Um, Thank you so much. V Scott says, I'm going to ask how they decide what to make or sell. Okay, good. Well, we anticipated your question. Um, Anything else you want to leave us with before you depart?
Oh, just thank you for your interest, everyone, and thank you for your prayers. And please come visit us. Thank you, Father Deacon, for having me on. I am currently in Kosovo right now, and Kosovo is a very holy and special place for Serbs. There's many martyrs here, and I'm going to be visiting some monasteries in Kosovo and reporting back the good news because I visited many monasteries here over the past year and a half, and many monks have been praying for us. So I will be going back to them and sharing the good news of our progress. Um, and yeah, please stay in touch with us if you have any interest at all. And thank you.
Thank you, Jared, so much. Thank you so much for joining, too. What a wonderful opportunity and the way this happily came together this morning when you were texting me. And I was just thought, I'm like, I would love to bring you on and talk to the people
Yeah,
here.
that was
So,
great.
our love and prayers, and we look forward to when you come back having you at the parish.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, bye, brother.
Have a great day, everyone.
God bless. end this and then go back to the All right, I'm back. Sorry. For some reason, when you shut off Zoom, like it shuts down the other camera or something like that. So, talk about stupid tech problem. I could have sworn back in the day when I used to have more guests on that to be able to switch back, I was able to easily kind of switch back and forth between Zoom uh, and the OBS camera or the camera here. So, forgive me, I had to like basically shut it down, open it up, then it still wasn't working, so I had to delete the video capture, then reinstall it on the. So I know how to fix things; it just might take a little time. All right, thank you, Jared. That was awesome. Pleasant surprise. I wasn't even thinking about that happening, and yeah, did you say I was messing around with the? You like my my meme? Healing Degen America through Patristic Faith content. Amen. So funny too, because especially being in Montana, uh, kind of like a lot of libertarians, and it's interesting because there are some liberals up here, especially Helena, Missoula, and Bozeman are uh, have some are could be quite liberal, and so it's funny watching on these like threads and stuff of like people arguing in Montana, and this I was thinking about it yesterday. This and you get these libertarians. Well, we don't want Skittles, so there shouldn't be. Are you getting any audio? Yeah, you guys have audio, right? Um, it was about stuff of like banning like pride flags or something like that. And like, there shouldn't be any flags but the American flag. Um, and there was this, these conversations about, and of course you got the libertarians in there. If you want to do whatever you like, just don't push it down. And it's like, why isn't anybody acknowledge? It's like that. Why are we gonna legalize, right, and then sanction degen, total immoral, soul and societal destructing things? Oh, because libertarianism mind like you should be free to do whatever you want. I'm sick and tired of this stupid abstract absolutization of freedom. I mean, these people in America are so brainwashed with like free. It's like, saw somebody the other day was like, some stupid atheist liberal was like, you don't want an abortion, don't have one. It's like, and then somebody responded, if you don't want an abortion, ban it. You don't like pornography? Ban it. Yeah, what are these people going to say, right? It'd be like, I don't care about your freedoms. Like, at some level, I do. I don't want you enslaved or anything like that. But I'm totally fine banning stuff. And, oh, too bad you don't like it. Because you can't engage in moral degeneracy. I don't care. Like, your feelings are not an argument. Well, I don't like it. I mean, how stupid. Yeah, live and let live. I mean, what a satanic. I heard some libertarian up here saying, like, I don't care what people do in the privacy as long as they're not. I'm like, you don't care what people do to themselves? And first of all, there's nothing you keep in the privacy of your home that doesn't come out in effect. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, you know what? You know, I don't care if your freedoms are sacrificed for greater goods and ban. I mean, what a stupid. And then think about it too. So you're gonna have a flag. I shouldn't even use this language again. That celebrates sodomizing people and poo poo. I mean, just the most disgusting. Because you put the word love on. I love poop. I just can't get enough of it, right? I mean, what a stupid, like, that's what you want in the classrooms? You want our children, right? Yeah, that was the pro-gay, exactly. This stuff never stays in the privacy, right? Oh, you want a flag about celebrating diddling kids and, you know, sticking your sexual organs into poo-poo? Like, what does the matter with you people? Like, well, people should be out. I'm like, absolutely not. I don't care if that hurts your feelings and your freedoms. Poop pride, seriously. On the other hand, lesbians have some of the highest domestic violence. Like, I mean, I was having a conversation with my mom about uh, there was it was weird. We get like a lot of lesbians in Montana. I don't know why. My wife had a good point that, well, because gay men like cities and lesbians tend to like more kind of outdoor world. I'm like, maybe that's. But we've had a few in our apartment complex, and there's one. I don't know if I told you about. It's the most. It's ridiculous before they even put the pride stickers on the. This person has a Hello Kitty car with like pink and huge Hello Kitties. Kitty loves you, and like I remember seeing it the other day, and I was like, "That's the most ridiculous. That thing should just be impounded and smashed up in a junkyard." Like I can't believe I've never seen something more ridiculous and offensive looking than a a pink and white Hello Kitty car. And anyways, I saw their lesbian couple. They look exactly how you'd think, and I actually prayed. I'm like, Lord, let me have compassion on, you know. And my mom said, "Oh, you should have went up to him and said, Jesus loves you in prayer." I'm like, I'm not coming anywhere near them. Like, lesbian women are some of the like most violent, like they'd probably try to, assault me. I'm like, right? I mean, do you know this is actually a phenomenon? Like, and you can see they're all, they're obese and just they look like they just want to punch somebody. Like, so I'm like, no, I could pray for them, in private. Like, I don't need to. Um, but I felt bad. I feel generally feel bad about, you know, I hate the movement, and I have compassion. I feel terrible. I don't want to see somebody, you know, uh, destroying their soul and body, and like it's really sad. And then in lesbian relationships, like domestic violence, and like that's a really sad thing. So I pray for them. I do have compassion for, and I pray to God that to have, because it's easy to conflate people with the ideology. It's like they are people, they're children of God, and they're hurting, and it's sad. We should have compassion for, and uh, like Joseph said, there's a lot of trauma in the community, and they hide that. So right, you've got to create propaganda about. That's why I said bring it home to the reality. Joseph, in his book, um, here I'll just give a shout out to Joseph. Right there, Joseph's book, Disordered, um, goes live the experience, goes into the details of what's not allowed to be talked about, but they're the realities of, and that should help us have compassion for. And it's just so sad. Like, Lord, forgive them; they don't know what they're doing. It's like, our society, these movements and these societies are telling people and programming this is the way they got to act and live, and that's really sad. But it's important that we separate our hate towards the evil and the ideological movements from the people who are they're actually suffering. Like just said, a lot of trauma, a lot of terrible health, and just to whether you've lived, engaged in any sort of kind of sin of the passions, um, you're miserable. Like whether it's drug use or, and that's always the trick of the devil, is it gives a temporary kind of superficial pleasure, um, but it's destroying you. It's just drugs destroy your body and your soul, and um, it makes you, you know, find a drug addict, and they're not like, oh yeah, life's wonderful. Like I'm just so, I'm so glad I chose this way of, um, and you can just look. Yeah, it's very thin. The veneer of joy, whether it's a drug addict or somebody engaged in promiscuous sex or something like that. So not happy. Like it's a miserable, and they're under the control of whether it's an addict or somebody engaged in promiscuity. Um, that they're enslaved. And all because a stupid libertarian would be like, freedom! Yeah, dude, isn't freedom so cool? And it's slavery. Plato said that. Too much freedom, slavery. So, it's like, yeah, we respect autonomy at some level, but the libertarian makes it an absolute. It's the first principle. And notice it's like we don't even know what that means. That's one thing that in politics, political ideologies, they're terrible at. They just use these vague words. It's like, well, there's no such thing as an abstract just concept of freedom. It's a particularity, or with any words or something like that. It's like, well, what does that actually mean? And particular cases and stuff like that. There isn't some absolute, that's the same thing with love. It's, as the late Father Thomas Hocko says, everybody's for love. Who doesn't like the Beatles sing about love? But how love, who love, where love, all these things matter. And that's, that's what ethics is, about, is that there isn't just this vacuous, abstract, absolute word. Like, they do the same. Diversity. It's like, well, what the heck does that mean? It's right? Equity, diversity, love, freedom. Give me another one that is just like, what does that even mean? Rights. Human rights. They're like mating calls for idiots. Rights. Freedom. Freedom. Dodo brains. I can't believe people fall for that. But the word sounds so cool, man. What does it mean? Well, I don't know. It's what plants need, though. Brondo. They're Brondo words. Nobody knows what they mean. It's what we need. We need more Brondo words out there. I call them spell words. They cast a spell over. It's the particularities of, and the context. Words have their meaning within context. Let me think of another one. Pride. What's the word they use to be like being present? Toxic. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's one. Orthobro. That's the big thing right now. It's like, now what's hilarious that, now I get it, that like, are there some young guys out there that don't go to church or don't kind of have spiritual direct, like, yeah, maybe like, but to like, who are they? Like, does anyone even know that these people actually exist? Like, or is this just this wide painted brush and net cast across? And it's just, no, it's just simply anything that I don't like online is now an orthobro. It's a derogatory, it's a leftist term to use bro derogatory. Now, these people and some Marian priests going online and giving sermons about, what the real problem with orthodoxy in America? Orthobros. We don't even know if they exist. How do we even know if the people that you don't like online are even Orthodox? Are you telling me in your parish you have orthobros and they're the biggest problem? It's the biggest threat to orthodoxy. You know what these? I'm like, maybe I take you serious as a priest, uh, criticizing this. If you called out, are you calling out Democrats, liberals, leftists? That's far more destructive in orthodoxy because those people tend to not change. Young guys, for whatever problems of the youth that you have and frustrations, they tend to let orthodoxy heal them and change them pretty fast. I don't see that with liberals and leftists. And there's various reasons for that. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I have a wonderful story about a lady I know that was a very liberal, and of course, for some reason, just because I teach orthodoxy, it's like, well, you're the face of conservative. Like, I'm not political, so get that out of, well, it's just a typical leftist liberal. Anything that's traditional orthodox, well, that just must be far right wing political. It's like, give me a break, dude. Everybody knows that tactic. Nobody's falling for it anymore. Anything I don't like is right wing MAGA. I'm not a MAGA right wing. What are you talking about? Okay, ain't nobody falling for that. We had somebody who was like that, and they were transformed, and they gave me a big hug and kiss, and we cried tears. It was wrong. I'm like, good. Would you let orthodoxy heal you? But that's rare, typically for a liberal. Why? Because generally speaking, the notion of what a Democrat, a liberal, or progressive is a rejection against, like, tradition. There's a form of radicalism in it, a revolutionary spirit where it's tradition that needs to change. What do you think progressivism means? To progress, right, beyond the structures. And I'm giving generalities, tend to be anti-hierarchical. They're influenced by feminist ideas, so they're anti-patriarchal. They're radical egalitarians. They are, like I said, the very word radical itself, revolutionary. None of those things in principle fit in Orthodoxy. When you come in, it's like, well, obviously they believe Orthodoxy is the one true church and stuff like that, but they don't like the things in Orthodoxy and they want to change it. So I don't typically see that on the other side of the spectrum, the right, and they're not like, we need to come in and change Orthodoxy. Who says that? Who thinks this way? Democrats, liberals, and leftists. Now, of course, I'm not saying there's not problems in, on the right or with conservatives or something like that. So, by the way, that's a false dialectic. Just because I'm critiquing a position doesn't mean that it's like, well, you must be on the other side. Like, no, it's just like, but doesn't mean the two are moral equivalents. We could analyze this philosophically and be like, yeah, one's a far bigger problem than. In fact, I think I saved a photo if I can put. Yeah, I'm going to send this so I can pop it up so you can see what I'm talking about. The principles of the left and Democrats are far worse than what you're going to find for the reason I mentioned. You just historically locate in terms like, well, how are where do these parties come from and these ideas? Like, it's not hard. And I think that's why you get a tendency where it's like, yeah, they're far bigger, like they're like, well, we need women's ordination. We need destroy hierarchy, and we need equity in diversity for diversity's sake. I like that's not worth like. So, why is it that people criticize? Like, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'd take the criticism of the orthobro if you were calling out What's far more destructive and problematic and doesn't change, most of those people do not actually let orthodoxy change. Why aren't you calling that out? Skittles, feminism, and the stuff of the Democratic Party, the platform. Don't you find that interesting? Even from priests that are supposed to be conservative, like, you never call that stuff out. Why? Isn't that weird? Oh no, it's the Ortho Bros are the Ortho Bros in the room with us right now? Here, this is a good. Is your child a far right extremist? Look for warning signs. Aversion to drugs, alcohol, and pornography. Interest in physical fitness, well being. A growing collection of classical literature. Monogamy, desire to marry and procreate. Increased time spending outdoors in nature. Appreciation of nation, history, and culture. Disdain for postmodernism and modernism. Well, your child might be an ortho bro. A right-wing extreme. And that's the problem. You know what the problem is in orthodoxy? Kids who don't want to do drugs, get addicted to alcohol, pornography, who are concerned with physical fitness and mental well-being, who aren't on Reddit all the time, and TikTok, which is funny because the Lesbo Hello Kitty car in my apartment literally had a sticker on that says I'm a TikTok addict. I'm like, this is just... I'm surprised they're not wearing the mask, actually. And we could talk about what I found out. Did I mention that? That's the whole thing about masks was kind of weird. Ew, monogamy. So, that's this is all fascism, guys. We have fascism entering into the church. You young people wanting to marry. I even saw some Marxist liberal guy that I know in Orthodoxy made some stupid meme. Carnivore bro. Oh yeah, health, man. Like, we got to get those phytoestrogen. You know what the problem is in Orthodoxy? We don't have enough phytoestrogen and soy boys, soy jacks in the church. These kids want to spend... That's fascism. Spending outdoors in nature and not on TikTok and Reddit. And this is obviously the R word. Appreciating nation and history. That's bad. That's fascism right there. That's why we got to weed these people out. Oh my gosh, here's the word. Like, how dare somebody have objections to modernism, postmodern, like that? Obviously, that I didn't even think about it, guys. It really is the largest problem that Orthodoxy faces today are these people bringing in these ideas and having these kinds of values. It's disgusting. Right? I mean, don't you see kind of what's going on? And again, that's not for me to say, like, are there issues with young people? First of all, why does it have to be a subclass? Oh, the ortho, like, are these just general problems that the youth has? Why do you have to label it ortho, bro? Why do you have to join with leftist degens who use the word bro, like, that's what it takes. You're upset at something and, like, you're siding with Skittles and people diddle little kids. You're using their words? Like, what's the matter with you? I'm saying this, I'm not going to point out, but like, I'm saying even clergy, I've seen, what is the matter with you, Father? Why? You can't just talk about problems of the youth. Here's things and stuff that we should be attentive to and work. Let's do better. No, it's the Lord. All of this probably is Jay Dyer derangements. I guarantee you, hands down, they'll be like, it's Jay Dyer. He's the biggest problem in Orthodoxy. Jay, where are you? Get Jay on. Let's have Jay call in. I'm calling you out, Jay. You know what? I'm convinced by the soy jack Orthodoxers out there on Reddit that Jay, you have corrupted. You've corrupted my mind, Jay. You know, I used to... Nobody ever says it, but be a Dyerite when they grow up. I used to be doing so well to my Jay Dyer. Right? That's the problem. Jay, stop running. I'm calling you out. Calling you to the dock. Pony up, son. Well, that he's got to be the... I think that's what they think, right? Like, Orthobro is Jay Dyer. Now, supposedly, Orthobro is a terminally online autistic person who never goes to church or doesn't have like... Well, that's not Jay Dyer, then. He has... I need to make a correction. Somebody had put on Twitter... Let me just show you why this is coming up today. Is because we have one of these papists making the argument. JMT, this guy, man. Society used to be a lot better until this guy. The world looked like it was going places until this guy came online. Co-poster JMT, Roman Rite Catholic. He's got 37,000 followers? Holy smokes. Sorry, man, I concede. What do Roman Catholics... They win with numbers. Yeah, see, that's the numbers. But, like, obviously, this... I gotta be wrong. What the bros are cooked. I'm not gonna post the video of the supposed priest that's going after Orthobro. He did some homily. Because I'll respect, you know... So Darth, I'm just gonna quote. I hear what you're saying. You're all cool, but I just to say, he's. I don't know if I would say Jay's under my guidance. Although I have made jokes to Jamie Kennedy that I'm Jay Dyer's handler, because Jamie Kennedy didn't know who I was. That's okay, Jamie. That's all right. Maybe philosophy and theology isn't your thing. Maybe that's why you don't know. Oh, well, this is FDA. Oh my gosh. JBK should, you know. Oh man, can I get an autograph? FDA? Anyways, so when Jamie Kennedy came up to the door, he was going to be one of the... do his thing. I'm like, I need to card you. I'm like, do you have your ticket? Like, I was just trolling him and messing. And he didn't like... Like I pretended like I didn't even know who he was. He was like, well, who are you? I'm like, well, I run this show. I'm like, the event. And I said, in fact, I'm Jay Dyer's handler. And like, he totally tripped out. And he like, what the Jay? He's like, who's that guy? And like, he's like, oh. So then that's why Jamie Kennedy tried to roast me in his act. And then it backfired. You can't roast me. I'm unroastable. Like... If you knew who I was, you'd knew, like, I can't roast FDA. Like, he's literally immune from being roasted. And it was hilarious. You should have seen it. Anyways, I've made jokes about being Jay Dyer. I'm not Jay Dyer's handler. He's not under the guidance other than... He's under the guidance of his priest, Father Vlad. Now, Jay Dyer's connected, right, is under the clergy advisory board in some sense. That, he's represented through Patristic Faith. He put on the jersey, he put the uniform on, right? All you Orthodox content providers, that's it. That's the. What would Jay do? Jay put the Patristic Faith jersey on. And we thank him. We thank Jay for his service. But that makes him accountable. Like Jay can just do and say whatever he wants. So he is under clergy, his own priest, but also being connected to Patristic Faith when you put your jersey on. You're under the guidance of the clergy advisory board. So I would say that Jay reaches out to me and asks for advice or something, but I wouldn't say he's under the guidance of. So I just wanted to make that clear. What is an ortho bro? Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Chase, for pointing out. It never gets defined. I remember Father Andrew was going toe-to-toe with people criticizing me and Patristic Faith. And Father Andrew was like, so what has the deacon ever said that's theologically problematic? What did he do? What did he say? Oh, not like they can never name it. Oh, isn't that interesting? It's the same thing. Do you see? It's the same leftist mentality. Well, because facts are anti-Semitic and racist. That's why you can't give details. Duh. Obviously, we just make these vacuous words and throw them out and see, who we can smear. They're smear campaigns. Why? Because if you don't do that, you're a racist. You're a fascist white supremacist. That's what, obviously, anybody that knows anything knows that. So, same liberal leftist tactic. Ortho bro. Where? What is it? This is seriously becoming a chimera man bear pig phenomenon. Like, I'm serious, guys. The biggest danger is man bear pig. What's a man bear pig? Remember the episode? It doesn't like, I don't even think whoever they think they're talking about is like this even exists. Chase Haggard calling right now. Chase, I'm calling you out. You are ortho bro. You're literally the incarnation of. We just have to point and be like, there it is. Eche, ortho bro. Chase epitomizes ortho broness. We're gonna have that on the Wikipedia. Like, somebody put that up. Wikipedia. Like, what is an ortho bro? And it'll have just like Chase's picture. Chase, are you in the chat? I'm talking to you. Yeah, this is what. Let's get it up. Come on. We're gonna look it up. What an ortho bro. So I'm looking up. I'm like, what is it? Imagine you're somebody, you hear some priest give a homily on just be like, the greatest threat to democracy and orthodoxy is ortho bro. There could be one right behind you. What do they look like? And then the father puts up this. Ew! Ew, gross! Look at Ortho Bro. Can't believe. Dressed nice. A button-up shirt. Disgusting. The world is disgusted with your aesthetics, Chase. It just screams right-wing fascist MAGA. Ew! What are we gonna do about it, boys? There's the face. Have you seen this man? Call the FBI. If you've seen this is the face of Orthobro. That's what's gonna be. Mark my words. That's why Chase says he never gets defined. Chase has a spiritual father. He is a blessing to apologetics. Guess what? Chase listens to me. So does Jay. They're not like, take a hike, FDA. I'll never listen to you. So they have humility. They listen to clergy. Like they take my advice. Like we've had wonderful conversations. They go to church. I met Chase Priest in person, but I've met Jay's priest in person, who will be doing another conference later this year together. But again, that's part of one of the reasons why we form a Patristic Faith. Led by clergy, a clergy advisory board, blessed, accountable, or official Orthodox. So that, yeah, I get it. I'm not happy with the fact that, anybody can just be an Orthodox content creator. That's why it's like, put a jersey on. Like, that's one of the reasons why. Plug yourself into, you want to do that? Plug yourself into an official Orthodox clergy-led source, and you're under accountability. So yeah, I do agree with, but many of the people you're accusing me of Orthodox are not what you say they are. Let's see if we have any more super chats. We only got one person to tip today. We had such a great stream. It's so sad. No, 2 people. Sorry, I was looking at only 2 people. Yeah, I don't like that everybody's, trying to debate and stuff like that. That I get, but it's just Orthodox, just young people. I have recommendations. I'm like, you want to do debates and stuff like that? B Scott, $2, thanks, bud. All right, I'm rising to see you at the top. I used to live in a garbage can, and then I became an online content Orthodox content provider, and now I got 5 Ferraris. Knowledge. I just grifted my way to the top, just by embracing both Orthobro grifts and through super chats. I paid for my mansion and my Ferraris. Snow cookies, $5. Thank you so much. I've already given my advice on, the fact that everybody can just, I don't like it. Well, everybody can just debate now. If anybody could be debating, it's going to be me. You want to know how I win all my debates? I just eliminated the competition. I am the gatekeeper. No, you're not allowed. I didn't sign off. Do you have an official letter where I signed off that you're allowed to debate? Well, then you shut down. Cancel culture. What did I just say? Freedom is for fat. Freedom is for is gay. And so, we're banning it all, guys. You hear it here first. We're banning debates. If you don't have an official certificate from FDA to debate, then you can't do it. We're shutting it down. Shut it down. Yeah, I'm totally for it. And then I win all the debate. Why is there nobody want to debate anymore? Why have I won every... I hope you know I'm being somewhat sarcastic. But in sarcasm, there's always a little bit of truth. Yeah, I don't particularly like that, anybody could just, I'm not even baptized yet, or the chrism's still wet, and I'm out there doing debates and content. I get it, people try to make money and stuff like that, but it's just consumer entertainment stuff, and you need to, if you're Orthodox, go through proper kind of training and education for that. And you need to be plugged into an official source. That's my thoughts on it. And if you think that you might have talent in philosophy and debate, yeah, I have a kind of projected educational plan. What if I told you in 5 easy steps you could go from, hi, I'm Father Deacon Ananias, and I used to live in a garbage can, until I took the Ortho Bro 5-step recovery plan to debate success. You might have wondered how I got all these Ferraris. Debates. We've got callers waiting online right now to call in. We'll even throw in a free homelessness. What better way to learn debate than being homeless? It's like, well, I'll let you in a secret. It's like, what was that? It's bum fights, but for apologetics. So this program literally makes you home. If you sign up with this, it's so expensive you'll be homeless anyways, but it's a 5-step plan to basically debate success. Well, we have to know that you're serious, that, sell everything you own and sign up for the course. And then you'll be homeless, and then part of your training program is you debate bumps. Right? That's obviously... That's the Ortho Bro 5-point success debate program. The Diogenes technique. Amen. Yeah. You know what's crazy if I actually did come up with something crazy like that? Kiki, $10. Are you the key master? The keys. Yeah, gatekeeper. Oh man, I have said ever since I was gonna grow up, like, Mom, Dad, we're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to be the gatekeeper. We could have to go to the Ortho Bro Diogenes homeless DeVry Institute for Homeless Debaters program. I'll do it, Mom. I'm not committed. And then I'll have the keys on the, yeah, like it'll be the DeVry, but the DeVry logo is now gonna be like the papal keys. Like you too could get the keys and be the gatekeeper of the internet. But like, oh yes. But we got to like merge it into like a multi-marketing pyramid scheme somehow too, right? Full orbit. I really do appreciate that you guys, your humor, and that you bring joy to my lives. I want to thank you for that. We get to laugh at the absurdities of life together. Um, I believe that humor is very healing, so thank you so much. What else do we got? There was something else I wanted to cover and I can't remember. Oh, awesome. Father Michael Lilly. Father Michael Lilly, thank you so much, Father. He says exactly what I just sang. Did he really give a homily in church on orthobros? Can you imagine? We have lukewarm people in the church drowning in sin and secular thinking who need healing and encounter with God. A takedown of orthobros is way down on the list. By the way, we all have a little orthobro in us. It's called pride. Truth Bombs by... I'm going to let you guess what jurisdiction that priest giving the homily is from. We didn't watch the whole video. See, we haven't watched the whole video fallacy. By the way, remember my book that I'm coming out? Top 100 fallacies that you don't actually know by name, but your friends and family members and everybody online commits every day. Well, you didn't watch the whole... One of them is going to be... Well, you didn't watch the whole video fallacy. When you get stuck in an argument, well, you didn't read the whole... Now, of course, there is legitimacy to that, but you can't just throw that. I mean, if it's actually the case that you do need to and you're not. What's another fallacy that I... I love this one. You're not a woman fallacy. When in doubt, and when you're in trouble, be like, well, you can't have an opinion on it. You're not a woman. Well, first of all, women are not supposed to have any opinions, so why would you just throw that back? This is the liberal. It's a species of fact. You have to be the thing itself in order to make a comment on the thing, and which leads to countless absurdities. Well, you can't actually have a commentary on the person that was murdered in by the postal worker because you're not a postal worker. You can't say murder by postal worker is wrong. You're not. Who are you? You're not. You don't work for the post office. Well, how can you say slavery's wrong? You're not a slave owner. You actually, according to your logic, you're not a woman fallacy. You actually have to be the thing in all the details in order to actually have a moral judgment on that. And when that fails, you go into the second fallacy I've done, the British accent. Well, we now know that you can make it Cambridge or Oxfordian. That would even be better. Which leads me to my third fallacy, the we now know fallacy, which you get double points if you combine with the British. We now know. Science. Number 4, the soyance, Soyeince fallacy. Added up, you get 4 points. Maybe a 5. If you're a woman, these are like, what do they call those? Disenfranchised minority points, where you get to like be the gatekeeper and the ruling elite, which ironically you hate hierarchy, but you use these words to. I'm disabled, queer, woman, trans, British, because I'm speaking of British, and I use the we now know fallacy. That's what, 7 points? That's 7 woke points right there. We now know. So you can add these up. You can increase your woke points and win every argument by the list of these fallacies. Probably I throw in there too much time on the internet fallacy, also known as the Reddit fallacy. There aren't no such thing as informal fallacy. Well, you can't call me out on fallacies because there's no such thing as that fallacy. That is the fallacy. So you got another, what are we on, 9, 10 points? The fact that I had science there was probably the science fallacy, but also known as the infallible high council fallacy of science. Or we also have the logical magisterium fallacy. Well, I just throw out, the book says appeal to authority, and critiquing a person. That's obviously must. What makes a fallacy is it's written in a book, not because there's actually a logical error. That would be the high. It's just infallible. It's infallibly written in a logic book somewhere by the synod of the logical magisterium. We all know. Don't ask why that's specious erroneous reasoning. We don't need to. It's like the papacy, right? What did I get? I kid you not. Got the guy in Jim Bob's stream to admit when he was asking, like, well, how do you know when you have patriarchs that contradict each other or like disagree? I'm like, you use your mind and you research and look at church history and the fathers and the councils. How do you know when? Well, shoot, we got this patriarch saying 2 + 2 is 4. This one says it's 7. Huh. Orthodoxy's got a real problem. How do we know which patriarch's right? They're giving different mathematical answers. Obviously, we just have to have one bishop that just randomly just says what the answer is. That's how we know. So I tell, because you use your mind. That's Protestant, he says. I just won the debate. Are you literally using your mind and thinking about stuff? Well, that's Protestantism. The quoted scripture, the Bible's a Protestant book. Congratulations. So we'd add that fallacy in there. But it's the same thing with obviously it just said that's any attack of somebody's character is an ad hominem. Why? Because I literally read in my book, The Infallible Bible of Logical Fallacies, that was canonized by the Infallible Logical Magisterium of Logical Scientists, that the word was in there. So that's just every Let me explain to you. Not every attack on somebody's person is an ad hominem. How do we know what the difference is? If I say that you're retarded, therefore your argument's retarded, that's an ad hominem. If I say your argument's retarded, which means you're probably retarded too, it's not a fallacy. If I say you're a child online, and therefore nothing you say can be true, and your objections are valid because you're a child, that's an ad hominem. If I say your argument's so dumb, it's something a child, you're probably a child, that is not an ad hominem. Do you get it? Every appeal to authority is not a fallacy. We use authorities. I remember one of the first jobs that I worked, I got some stupid student review. I was like, you gotta be like, too bad they're anonymous. We're like, this person needs to be contacted before it's too late. Because you're this stupid. If you're in college and you're this stupid, like, first of all, you're throwing your money away. There's no hope for you if you say stuff like this. The criticism in the student review was, Dr. Sorm talks down to us like he knows more about stuff than we do. It's like, oh, shucks. They found me out. Why do we go to college? Well, we go to college to find professors to teach us who are dumber than, who don't know what they're talking about on the areas that they got the PhD. Obviously, we all know that. We obviously go to college because we already know everything, and the professors who have the PhDs in that particular don't. We're there to see. It's all backwards, you see, and I'm gonna put it in my student review and let them know that, like, teachers are disgusting. They think they know more on topics than other people. Ew. That should be like a suspendable offense. Like, you're actually just like, you're kicked out of college if you, like, you have that level of brain rot. It's like, who let this person in? We don't know because it's anonymous. The anonymity. There's no anonymity. I track everything that you do. I know you think you're anonymous online. I have ortho hackers. Every time you log in, have your IP. We even know how to get around the VPN. I know everybody that sends me hate mail. I know where you're at. I know where all my students are thinking and doing because I've installed a Elon Musk neurochip in your head. Like, you can't hide from FDA, dude. You can run, but you can't hide. I've got cameras in the classrooms. I got spyware installed on all your computers. Anonymity ain't gonna help. I don't know what you're talking about. I got a list. I got a naughty list. I got a whole file here full of every infraction. Okay, these are your future tickets that are literally like meter maid tickets of all the anonymous people that I've had to block on Twitter. I know where you are. You're gonna get your fine. You know what's really cool though? I'm a nice guy. I have a repayment plan. We've got you can call our finance department here and you can schedule a repayment plan for any of these infractions that the Franzia received. By the way, those are my Montanica receipts. I gotta keep it for tax. For tax reasons. But I am tax. I am the IRS. Why do you think I have all the information on you guys? Isn't that great? There's no such thing as anonymity with Patristic Faith anymore. The entity known as Patristic Faith has reached transcendence. It has, by all practical concerns, an omniscience in every single, it's installed in every single one of your computer. It is watching you. There's no way that you can hide. It is all knowing. Oh wow, look at my reviews are amazing all of a sudden. That's crazy. I've always had good reviews, but like, every professor, like I can't, teaching for 14, 15 years at university, like occasionally you get some weirdos like that. You can't get them all. I told you, dude. You gotta go to the gatekeeping Patristic Faith Diogenes Homeless Ortho Bros DeVry University program of CIA surveillance tactics. That's my debate program. That's how I train all the Ortho Bros to win debates. Is they just go to the we call it the farm, and you get trained in CIA psyop tactics, espionage and spying, and you just, strangely enough, just end up winning every single debate. I like to make a 5-step program because I like to do this. What if I told you in 5 easy steps you could be a CIA trained assassin of arguments? Oh yeah, the Roman Catholics will clip. Oh, got him. You can't get me. All y'all been trying to come after me for, 5, 6, 7 years. It won't happen. You're not gonna get. Not gonna happen. Nope, no way. Who is that? We're gonna tear down these walls. Oh, another funny thing. I always like in these comments are like the eternal, notorious debate, the Matt Slick debate. And there's always got to be some. This just shows you like how far out in reality you could actually get away from reality. Guys like, I'm not even Calvinist, and Matt Slick cooked FDA. It's like, I feel like doing the Magnum PI. I'm gonna find that Magnum PI JPEG. Magnum PI. Magnum PI JPEG. Where he's like, "Hig it, baby." Not JPEG. What am I? What are the? Am I blanking? The animated. You know what I'm talking about. GIF. Yeah, there we You love it. You love to see it. Right there. I just installed spyware on you. Yeah. I just graduated. FDA's CIA apologetic program. I just won the debate. You're gonna concede, aren't you? That's a good... What's this one? Oh, yeah, when he always does. Where he looks at the... What's that called? Where it breaks character and looks at the... That's a good one. Is this one frozen? What's going on? Don't eat the snow in Hawaii? What? Okay. Man, we're having good fun here. Yeah, all the tabs are my ISP handlers. Okay. No, I regret. I did it the other day. I was so upset that I closed one of the tabs. I was looking for an article on second order knowledge because it came up in our epistemology. And I was like, and I remember thinking about the tab haters, the tab bigots in the chat. Look, dude, close all the tabs. Now that people want me to close, I'm keeping it. Like, I've always been that way since I was a kid. Where somebody's like, don't ever do that. And I'm like, well, I'm doing that now because you just told me not to do it. Don't say that to me. The stop sign told me to say stop. I'm not stopping. So, because of my ADD, where I can't keep all the thoughts in my head at the same time, those are all things that I regularly return to. And then I was like, I'm like, who's going to ask me a question on second order knowledge and Kelp's article? Like, obviously, I use that like when I was writing something recently, and I'm like, I can close that. And it comes up Monday, and I'm like, well, thank God I have that tab up. All the tab bigots out there that want me to close my tabs, here's exactly why I keep them up. Now I can pull this up, and then what did I find? I'm like, oh, I closed it. I could not find this article for the life of me. I'm like, it's got to be in my history. Couldn't find my history, search engine, and I'm like, this is exactly why I leave up 100 tabs. Is because I use these things. I return. I'm thinking about. My mind's thinking about like 100 different things all the time. That's why. Most people don't need a spiritual father, and so I wouldn't necessarily encourage like a priest and your confessor can do most of those. But you develop relations with other priests where you're like, this really, as you're confining them, like that might become apparent that I actually work really well. Like I really like the spiritual dynamic of this priest. You may at some point ask, but not everybody needs a quote unquote spiritual father beyond what their priest, because it's a different type of relationship. Question. Well, I'm a good old rebel, and that's just what I am. And for this Yankee nation, that's for my southern. I do not give up. That's for my southern brothers and sisters out there. even though I was born in the North, in Yankee land. God dang. Mom, Dad, why you born me in Yankee land? Montana's the north, the south of the North. We have literally a place called Confederate Gulch over here. Jay, I'm calling you out. Jay, I'm calling your mother. And she's gonna call you to debate. I hope you guys know. Like, my wife was like, tell people that you're joking. Don't pick up on your. What if I did streams where I was just like, hold on. Oh, whoa, Craig S. $50 towards your Ferrari mansion fund. Yeah! Just for that, I'm going to pound this Topo Chico. Oh, I gotta find. That reminds me that Pepsi GIF. Why don't these work? All right. When the LSD kicks in, let's see. Oh man, I had a great time with you guys. A patron saint, you pray about it. There's traditions that you already have one, you just discover it. Read the stories, the lives of saints, and you don't have to pick a saint and be like, well, this one's just like me. People always get that. It's like an affinity to, like, there's something, if you can go into your heart and be like, I feel something, like something feels right about. I love, what do they say in the UK and Britain and Ireland? Fizzy drink. Fizzy drink. Like carbonation. I love it. I can't get enough. I've literally carbonated my whole house. Yeah. I've carbonated my car, my house, my cats, my drinks, my food. You don't carbonate your food? What's the matter with you, dude? You know, like a sizzly poppy, like, food when you eat your chicken and burgers? That's called the carbonation fallacy. We all know everything has to be carbonated. Do you don't like your pasta carbonated? You don't like fizzy bubbles in your pasta? What's the matter with you, dude? Only psychopaths don't like their food carbonated. Yeah, I'm working on thinking of a book. My next book. I carbonated my life up to the to reach financial success. How about if a transital argument for carbonation? That would be called TAC. TAC. Oh yeah, transital argument for carbonation, of course. How to calcify your pineal gland. I think that's what I'm gonna work on my next project, like bringing back calcification of pineal glands. You never heard about the fluoridization of water? Calcifying your pineal gland? Anyways, thank you so much, Craig. $50. That was awesome. Snow Cookies, $5. V Scott, $2. Dale just 20. Kui, $10. Thank you. Just giving another shout out and thank you for all your support. You never heard of pineal gland? Everybody knows that, like that story about. Oh man, my mom just bought me. It's the coolest thing. It's this. Yeah, it's from DMT Bros. It's just such a cool. It's like a stainless steel. Gravity water. Just got. I gotta set it up. The rest of it today. You ever seen these things? Hey, sweetheart, what's the name of our water filter? And it's got like a little stand. Like mine's called Pure Well. Pure Well Pineal filtration system. Man, I can't even spell to Pure Well water filter. Yeah, one of these. What a cool gift. Thank you, Mom. And then it had, like, we have like a wooden stand that it. Anyways, that is all. All right, I gotta get going. We have a really cool church event thing that we're going to tonight. We want to give Jared, I'm just sending a message. Thank you so much, brother. We have the Dubliners coming in doing what's called a Live at 5 at Helena. Ew, David, that's crazy. Yeah, we had just been using one of those Brita water filters. Now I don't when I'm at the cabin in Lincoln because we're on a well, so the well water is really good. But yeah, it's nice not to have to keep purchasing those stupid Brita water filters. You know where you put the. But we've been doing that for years, man. Years. Well, what a good, fun stream. I've been going for a while, so I did talk to Dr. Gerby, and he looks like he's going to come on next week to discuss his paper and theory of reference and why Muslims and Christians don't refer to or worship the same God, and discuss his paper theistic fallacies and why that's like fallacious and why all these guys are not actually getting it. No matter how smart and philosophers they might be, they're just missing the whole thing on that. Also, we'll be having a guest also on, Dr. Sean Stidd, professor of philosophy at Wayne State University, to discuss. I think we're maybe going to talk about Metropolitan Zuzulus and the notion of personhood in Orthodoxy. It's kind of following up on stuff, reviewing Dr. David Bradshaw's paper and some of the stuff that we brought up yesterday, and played bluegrass last night. I believe we are doing the catechesis class this Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard, so we're looking forward to that. And that is it, guys. That, as far as announcements, pretty much covers it. All right, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for your support and your donations. Keep the monastery project, Jared himself, and all the clergy up here, and myself and their families, and your prayers in the community. And may you guys be blessed, and the Lord keep you. Until next time, bye-bye. Bye-bye. That's my thing not working. Bye-bye.